Okay guys, next drawing is going to be 2.4, the friction plate. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to draw that in there. 2.4 friction plate. I'm drawing this fast. I expect you guys to have better penmanship, I'm sorry. Okay, alright, so real quick, remember every drawing must be centered. So all these drawings, okay, have center points. This one here, we just got to center it in the square here. Now there's multiple ways we can do that, right? The way that we like to do, I mean at least I do, because I don't have a long enough compass, I mean a straight edge that goes all the way across, so I do my crosshair method, remember? Now this is the vertical line, so I better draw it so I don't forget it, because I'll forget sometimes which one was vertical and which one was horizontal. Okay. Now I'm going to do the horizontal line. Alright, so there's my center. I went ahead and blown this picture up so we can look at it a little bit better. Alright, so let's get into it here. One thing you will notice is that we're coming up with these symbols again that look like this, which mean diameter. So that's 154 millimeters, because we got large numbers, meaning millimeters. So we're going to be using our metric scale here. Remember, big numbers. So this outside arcs are at 154. The inside ones are at 122, right? Notice this opening here is a 30-degree opening, but half of it's 15, so therefore that's 15, that's 15, that's 15, together it's 30, and so on, right? Notice this 122 is also the center for these arcs here. So I'm going to draw a big arc here, and then we're going to go back and erase stuff and make it look nice, right? Notice we have this one at 50, okay? One thing you will find out is when we get to doing these ones, notice they all come from the center here. They all come from the center, okay? Alright, so let's just get started. I'm going to draw these two big ones. So half of 154 okay, is 77. So I'm going to go ahead and just set this guy to 77. Remember, we always divide it by 2 because we draw our circles using our compass. Using our compass, and our compass needs to know the radius. So I'm going to set it to 77. Come here right to the center. Remember, we're very light right away, right? So we're very light. Okay, half of 122, 61. So I'm going to set this to 61. Notice I'm doing all my arcs first, because while you're kind of in the rhythm of doing the arcs, you might as well just draw it all, right? Okay, then our next one is half of 50, because the diameter of that is 50, so we're going to go half, which is 25. Real easy, right? Now real quick, I'm going to go ahead and draw these lines here. Notice this line here represents 0 degrees. This is 90 degrees, so this line here represents 90. Remember, this opening was 15 degrees, so 90 minus 15 is 75 degrees. That's 75 degrees, right? Look here, this one's 15 degrees. So, real quick, how do I make 75? Well, using our two triangles, we're going to go 30 plus 45, right? Now, while I do this, I know where I need to stop and I need to end, right? So I might as well draw it, both top and bottom. Flip this around, draw it this way now. Now I need a 15 degrees. Remember, the 90s are away from each other, right? The 90s are away from each other. They're on this table, which means the top angle is always going to be 15 degrees. Flip it. Okay, so there we go. Now I got my outside mark, so if I really wanted to, I can come back here and I could set this again to those outside marks, right? But there's no need to it because we're going to have to darken a lot of other stuff too. So now that I got those circles, notice, here we are. This is 90 degrees. That's a 30-degree opening before it hits this one here. And that's going to be 90 minus 30 is what? 60. So that's 60 degrees. Then 60 minus 30 again is 30 degrees. See how I got that? One thing you will notice is this 60 degree is also the bottom point of that. And this 30 degree is the bottom point of this. So that's going to be a method too. So here we go. Are you ready? 60 degrees is our first one. And just like we've learned in all the other videos, while you do one, you might as well do two, right? So here we go. 1, 2. There's my centers, right? And while I'm doing it, I might as well know what these lines look like. And they're the center marks, are they not? Make sense? Flip it. I'm going to do this 60 degrees this way. Long, short, right to the center, right to the center, small, short. Now I'm going to go 30 degrees. Small, 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 long. Remember, we know what center lines look like, so we just memorize this stuff and we start drawing it, right? Then it becomes really easy and you don't have to go back over stuff. It becomes fairly easy once you kind of get the rhythm of stuff. So this drawing will go really bloody quick. Boom, boom, boom. See how we got it? Now real quick, I'm looking at all these marks I made at the bottom point, okay? Okay? So those bottom points of these guys, okay? 60 degrees. See how they come through there? Right? So they also go vertical with each other too. Check it out. Boom, boom. See that? So notice once I get this first one made, I go out, then all these lines will project. See how that works? They also project horizontally too. So I could slide it up and I could draw them horizontally. Now this paper's not taped down, so it's not going to be perfectly horizontal, but I mean you get the point, right? So real quick, we know that these lines are at 45 degrees because this is parallel with that. So I'm going to simply come from this point, go up 45 degrees and measure that very first one. It's 6 millimeters because it tells me 6 millimeters. I don't need to know 12 because after I go 6, I'm just going to go back and up and those two will connect. So here we go. There's my 45-degree triangle, right? So I'm just going to do my first one, right? I'm going to go very light on all of these. And I might as well just draw them so they're out of my way. Now I'm going to go ahead and measure one of them. 6 millimeters, right? Okay. Real quick, I'm going to kick it back 45 degrees. Make sense? Now we're just going to bring them down. So here's the crosshair. Crosshair, crosshair, right? Check it out. Crosshair, crosshair. Bring it over. Crosshair, crosshair. And now we're just going to simply just fix them and finish them. Fix and finish. Fix and finish. Bingo bango. Makes sense? See how easy that was? Okay, now real quick, all these circles, okay, are done at a diameter of 12. So I got to set my compass to 6 millimeters, right? Now this becomes fairly hard to draw it, okay? So what I'm going to use is I'm going to use templates. Now we have green templates under, right up above the cabinet where you get all your drawing paper. And you're just going to look at them to find the right template. This is a metric template because we're doing everything in metric, right? So there's 10, there's 12, there's 10, 11, 12, and that's my measurement I'm looking for. See these little dots they got here? Those dots are to line up on your horizontal line. So here we go. Now real quick, because this is such a fine line, I better sharpen my pencil. Okay, so real quick, this is a vertical line. I'm going to get it lined up, make it look nice. Finish it. There it is. See how I'm doing this all? Bingo bango. Look at that. I'm set and done, aren't I? I just have to come back over with this, and I got to fix all these lines, don't I? So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to darken this stuff, right? And while I'm at it, I better come out here and darken these ones too. Might as well do the center lines too, right? Remember, it's all about rhythm, right? It's all about figuring out what's going to be the quickest. You don't want to have to keep setting this compass every dang time you want to do something, right? So just wait and figure out when is the best time to do them. Now I don't need to go and do the rest, but you kind of get the idea, right? Of course, you'd go back here and you'd darken these last ones. Of course, don't do that. Don't get in a rush like I am. When I first started doing drafting with students here at Helena High, I was a bit crazy. Meaning, if you had like the slightest mistake and it wasn't up to par, I'd made you redo it. So like something like that, if I wasn't able to erase it, you had to redraw this thing. So my first 2 years of kids that I had in drafting hated me. But you know, a lot of them went to college, and a lot of them at MSU Bozeman, Montana, and doing really, really well. So I don't know, I think for a lot of kids, when I have a student that I feel like is really excelling or can excel at this kind of stuff and be very particular, then I'll be really hard on them versus someone else I won't be so hard on. So if you're a person I'm hard on, think of it as a good thing. Think of it as maybe that I got high hopes for you, and that maybe if I don't have high hopes for you because I'm just letting you go by with all this stuff, maybe put the pressure on yourself to say I'm not going to turn something in that doesn't look adequate, right? Okay guys, so you get the idea. This one was pretty easy, wasn't it? Alright, well, remember, if you have questions, please ask, but these videos, they get lengthy at times. So it's always best to try to do it yourself and try to figure it out, because what you're learning is troubleshooting problems versus just learning to draw exactly how I draw, right? So I mean, sometimes it's a double-edged sword in a sense. Of course, don't forget the arcs here as you go around. Remember, I've got to see that it looks like a center line, right? And of course, I wouldn't turn this in because I'm still missing a lot more center lines in here. You'll find out I'm missing one here, here, there, right? So while I'm at it, I might as well just draw them, right? So here we go. And the last one is going to be that 60-degree one. And of course, now that I'm doing this all, I probably should have... Oops. Now this line I don't like because I broke the lead. And now it looks really fat. So I don't like that. I'd have you fix that. Anywho, you get the idea, guys.